tapped or clicked in to College Volleyball Weekly on Viral Volley Media. Now here's your host, Rob on mic.
Welcome, College Volleyball Weekly. We're not even going to brief Nikki because she can just roll into it. She's a smooth operator like that. So CVW episode 311, National Championship episode. We're Instagram living. So if Nikki can see my Instagram live, I'll point it right there. You see that? Oh, that's actually a good view right there. But then they can't see the laptop itself with all you guys on there, I believe. There we go. We'll do this. Working it. All right. So first things first. Order of events here, and Nikki doesn't know, but like I said, she can roll right on in because she's that smooth. We're going to talk about the ABCA All-America Social. They unveiled the ABCA Player of the Year, and I'm curious what you guys thought as the coaching panel, since you guys know everything.
Yeah, I'll start out. Regardless of who you thought should have won, and I'm not going to. I had another person that I thought maybe should have deserved it, but hey, congrats to Andrew. Well deserved. Not like you weren't, not like you were some slouch that didn't know how to play the game and you stole it. I just want to talk about the people that are on that list and then the people that are on honorable mention. I mean, that is a stacked group of players. And for those of you out there that think some of these guys, you would think, oh, those guys are easy first teamers, and they made it only on the honorable mention. I mean, that's how tight the competition was. I don't know how long the call went. I wasn't on it. Someone on this call was, and it is
Brad Rothstein with a peace sign.
Two people.
It is a long process,
and Dan was on it too.
Yeah, I've been on it before. It's a long process. It's not easy, and when it gets down to the tooth and nail of everything. I mean, some of those guys, you look on that honorable mention, like, holy smokes, I would have thought that guy would have been a first team or second team, no question. And you're looking at it and going, wow, they're only honorable mention. So congrats to the committee. I think you guys did a great job, and the right players were deserving. And again, congrats to Andrew Rowan for winning Player of the Year.
Yep, Andrew Rowan, UCLA Player of the Year. I got the video up thanks to of all people, the Rowan family that sent me the video of me announcing it. Since I couldn't get my Instagram up live, I had to respond on the fly with technical difficulties. So other panelists, Brad Rothstetter or Nikki Sandlin, thoughts on the Players of the Year?
We were both on the committee call, so I'm like, I don't know how I feel about, what I say this in the recruiting process, whatever choice you make is the right choice. That's what I say every time. So, but great player, obviously deserving. Like he said, Jay was like, was it 33-2 or 48-2 or whatever UCLA's record was? Just storied career for Andrew Rowan, and like I said, great choice. There was tons of them. The list was very difficult, but always the best choice is the current choice.
There we go. Spoken like a true ambassador. All right, let's see if Brett has to say to ruin the perfection that Nikki just said.
Yeah, I'm actually brewing up something to ruin that perfectly. But yeah, I think the biggest piece was and it didn't play a factor in some of the conversations or the dialogue during the fact, but after the fact, I was thinking about it and really Pat Rogers and Tread Rosenthal and even Cole Hartke had some amazing years this year. But thinking back, the last 2 years, Rowan has been in that conversation, right? And not that those guys haven't been, but he's been one of the two best players for the last 2 years in NCAA college men's volleyball, with Moni Nikolov being the other. So I think being able to do it at such a high level for such that extended period of time, where, I think Tread took some huge strides as a setter this year. Pat Rogers really just leveled up, and same for Cole Hartke, really just leveled up. And I think, looking up to next year, I think Tread and Cole Hartke are in great positions to be on that watch list and early favorites going into next season. But yeah, it was, I think, as we talk through it, as we look through more and more of the information, the details, the stats, the numbers, and just the importance of each of those players had within their teams, it was a very tough deliberation, but I think Rowan was very deserving, along some really, really awesome company with those last three finalists.
Yeah, so if you're getting caught up here, it was Andrew Rowan was the Player of the Year. Along board, it was Cole Hartke, Patrick Rogers, and Tread Rosenthal. So a solid group of four. I mean,
Wait, wasn't it Varga?
sorry, Skylar Varga. So, but the semifinals, that was a tough choice in any case, going down to that last wire. You know, one thing is explained to me, because I asked a certain committee member, why so many honorable mentions? And then when they put down the numbers, it ends up being roughly around the top 7 to 10% of the top athletes in the nation, which if you look at a graduation in the college, that's summa cum laude. That's the top 8% of the student population, which
Wait,
is
that's what's that called, Rob?
you wouldn't know, dude. That academic probation is all you know. So
Jay, I was with you there. I said I didn't come here to play school. I came here to play ball. That's it.
I got accepted to a UC Santa Cruz, the Ivy League of the West Coast. I will remind you all.
Well, with that, that goes to our first semifinal on Saturday night. The number 5 seed Ball State against unseeded UC Irvine. Panelists, want to get your take on semifinal number 1, which was an electric, great Ball State crowd showing, by the way. So,
I'm gonna do a little Queen Latifah here and say, ladies first, ladies first.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Go there. I will say I started harassing our local establishments to put on men's volleyball. That's the first and foremost. Tonight, everyone get out there, go to your local establishment, watering hole, place of choice, harass them to put it on TV. That's the first thing. I was really, really hoping for a little MIVA action. I do love Niff and the Magic Sport coat, which I bet he has on today. He is one of my favorite people, so it was like a win-win for me. But man, Pat Rogers still could do no wrong. It's just the normal supporting cast from the Cardinals just struggled to find the rhythm. You know, Basilio's usually pretty clean. Ryan Lewis was pretty clean for the most part all season, and they brought in Marty Ketavan and just couldn't find the rhythm. They hung in there looking at the stats, but needed a little more production from the supporting cast. You know, Machado was pretty good, and really big shout out to Will Patterson. Strong performance there, but return Trevor Clark. That's all I'll have to say. I will pass that on from he's a bad man. I will throw that out there. That was an impressive performance.
Yeah.
As Pesto, when I used to work with him, used to say to some of our players, he's a bad man. Yeah, Trevor Clark got a massive amount of love from people who did not know about him. And if you didn't know about him, shame on you. You nailed it right on the head. Both teams are fairly. I remember watching the match and going, the passing's really good. And the serving was good, but the passing, a lot of times both teams were fairly in system. The numbers, I think it was 2.28 for UCI and 2.19 for Ball State. That's pretty legit good for that level of passing. You nailed it, though. Rogers hit 318. He hit 381 on the season. He hit 318 that night. Gunter hit 625 and only hit 561 for the season. Patterson hit 438 and hit 453 in the season. Those three players did really, really well. Basilio for the season hit 261, only hit 053 that night. And Lewis hit 308 on the season and hit 033 that night. Now, that's not that I don't want to put all the pressure on those two guys and go, you're the reason why Ball State lost. That's not the case at all. Because of all that, because UCI handled the rock so well, and because Ball State was struggling a little bit, it put some pressure on them. And they've gotten pressure all year long. It wasn't like Ball State just new to the game going, well, we don't know what this feels like. But it was wearing down on him. And you could see Machado getting frustrated. When you watch Ball State throughout the year, if Machado was had a little bravado, no rhyme intended there. If he had a little moxie going and he's chirping a little bit through the net and he's swinging and getting kills and he's doing all that stuff, Ball State's humming. There's not even a question. I mean, they for the season, they hit above 300 for the year. And that night they only hit 043. So they just, as a whole, we're just not doing a really good job of getting that mojo going. And so, it is what it is. I mean, UCI is the darlings of the tournament so far, and they're now in the finals. They weren't even supposed to make it. And let's let that sink in for a second. NIF made a really good statement. I'm sorry I'm taking a little more time here, but NIF made a really good statement at the post-game press conference. If we didn't expand to 12, Irvine's not in. And this is what people have been screaming about forever, which is deserving teams that had good years, that maybe they didn't have that little edge or whatever, and they don't get a chance to go. Now all of a sudden we don't get a chance to watch them play. Now we're seeing in the first year a team that normally would not be in now all the way to the finals, and that's awesome to watch. It's good volleyball.
Yep. All right, Brad.
Yeah, I think for sure the tournament expansion is a huge piece of that, just from the viewer perspective and like being able to see a team that's on that bubble where I think technically they were the 8th seed. And technically they were predicted by one person on this panel to be the most dangerous high seed team. I forget which one person that was.
Yeah, is Crad Bostratter? Is that the
yeah,
name?
something like that. Yeah. But yeah, I think really what that game came down to is both those teams were really great serving and passing teams, and it was more or less a wash there. Not too many aces, not too many service errors, really clean volleyball from the serving and passing perspective. And I thought really offensively, Irvine just had a really good plan of attack and had a really clear identity of what they were going to be doing. And you saw it early on, even early on, they set middle early. They fed Trevor Clark as they should and as they were plenty throughout the season. But they kept feeding him and attacking out of the middle of the court there, and then allowing both the outside hitters for Irvine to go and attack out of system and really challenge the block. And you saw it early. I think it was Jokanovic got blocked on 2 of the first 3 points. But they knew they were going to have a lot of success attacking at that block and finding some edges. And it created a lot of stress, and especially Jokanovic out of system. They blocked him probably 5 of their blocks were on Jokanovic, but his kills he was getting out of system really made the difference, and it created a lot of pressure. And you saw Ball State really feel that when he was attacking out of system and hitting to the corner, then hitting sharp, and then hitting the high line seam, and that range and that vision he had out of system, I thought was a big difference because both teams were pretty good control, pretty good out of system. And I thought Jokanovic out of system was just a little bit cleaner throughout and really ended up being the difference there. But really impressed with all 6 passers in that match. Did an amazing job in serve receive. And then I think from a planning perspective, Irvine was really clean and really sharp and really crisp as we welcome in Dan.
What's up, old man?
What's up, guys?
Unfortunately, you on Instagram Live,
turn a little bit this way. Oh,
you don't get to enjoy the glory that is Dan France. But I can only do so much of the technology in the last minute setup. So we were talking about the semifinal number 1, Irvine and Ball State.
Yeah, I thought Irvine was a little cleaner down the stretch. It was a great match to watch, and I thought Ball State unfortunately made some errors, I think, in a couple different sets. So yeah.
I want to follow up Brad with all that because Brad's our stat guy. He's stat guy. But here's a stat. First ball side out, Ball State 296. It's nothing to slough at. That's pretty good. UC Irvine 456. That is redonkulous how good that is in first ball side out.
Anything else? I mean, there's some great performances between Irvine and St. Patrick Rogers really step up to the next level there. But Trevor Clark, you'd mentioned, he had, was it 16 kills, 15 kills, 1 error, or 14 kills, 1 error, hit 720 for the match. Unstoppable. And then someone had mentioned that Jokanovic had at least 5 balls blocked for points. He only had 6 total attack errors, and he still got double-digit kills and was hitting close to 300 on the night. So it was a fantastic performance for the freshman outside hitter from France. And but
oh, Rob, you just went underwater. Are you surfing right now, Rob? We can't.
Get out of the surf tank. Now you're on mute.
I think your mic got unplugged.
You're on
mute. We can't
mute.
hear anything.
You're unplugged. No, we can't hear you.
We're going to have to get in his live stream and get into the comments of the live stream to let him know.
I'm on Instagram right now. Come on, Rob.
For those of you watching live, these are the perils of doing live things on Instagram.
All right, looks like, am I back on here?
You're back.
Yeah.
Yes,
All right,
now
I think
you're back, and Theo is asking if he
accidentally
has
moved
the
the
wrong
USB
link.
cable.
Hey, Brad,
Yeah.
what was that? Brad, what was a good pass percentage for Irvine?
Irvine was in system at 56%.
Right.
And then Ball State was still pretty darn good at 52%.
The eye test would tell you Irvine was more in system than Ball State was. Do you know what I mean? Just from that standpoint. So
Yeah, watching it live, I would have thought it was a little bit more drastic of a difference. But also,
and
like,
the other thing that's not a thing is like I thought Lucas's location for Ball State wasn't as good as I'd seen it in some other matches, especially from where I was sitting at right there. And so I'd seen him be just a little bit cleaner. So
Rob,
yeah,
let
obviously
him
the
in.
connection overhead with Lewis and Machado and Lewis never looked like it was quite rolling like it had.
yeah.
Rob, let Theo in. He says he's waiting in the queue.
He is? It's not
That's what he
showing in
says.
here.
All right. I'll try to get him here. It does.
Oh, there he is. He just popped up.
Okay.
There we go. All right. Was he sitting in traffic like I was?
Yeah. Watch out
There
for
he
those
is.
styrofoam
Yours.
cups in the road.
How we doing?
What's up? I thought you were driving to UCLA.
No, I said I'm not driving.
That's what we said. Rob
No
thought you were
chance,
driving to
man.
UCLA.
We were waiting for you.
You said you'd be there in
Oh.
15 minutes, and I said, no chance in hell you would make it there.
No,
in
I
15.
said I live 15 miles away, and I will not make that drive because it will take me an hour and 10 minutes easily.
That's just to get to the freeway.
Well, we just finished talking, not finished, but any comments on the semifinal number one between Ball State and UC Irvine? That caught your eye.
Yeah, I mean, I think Trevor Clark was an absolute difference maker. And you know, watching this Irvine team over the past couple of weeks, watching him really. I mean, obviously he's had a fantastic year and has been really great for that team all year. But you know, I think to a certain extent, a lot of Darcy and Jokanovic have been slowed down to a more pedestrian level, right? As phenomenal as they have been, and as talented as those pins are, and obviously still good enough to win games. But Trevor Clark has been absolutely stunning and incredible, and has really found a rhythm that's been close to unstoppable. I think he's killing the ball around 60% over the last 4 matches that they've played. And I mean, it's a slow 1.5 right in the middle of the court. Everybody knows it's coming, but it's higher than everybody else, and it's incredibly difficult to stop. And so for me, that's the piece that stuck out for sure.
One conversation I caught online was what kind of offenses would you coaches classify Ball State ran versus what UC Irvine ran? Is it a faster offense, slower offense, high ball offense? And, you know, there are definitely some different takes, but from the coach's eye, I'm curious what you guys think it is.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, for Irvine at least, I think they definitely run a slower offense in general. You know, even for us, we were able to bunch and help more with the middles. It didn't help at times because Trevor Clark and Micah Goss are still so physical. And then that back set overhead to Darcy is a little bit slower too, just using his size, his height, his physicality. They do go a little faster forward on the go to those outside hitters, but overall, I'd say it's a little bit slower. I haven't seen Ball State in person.
I would say Ball State and Irvine are similar on the front pin. They can push the tempo when passing's good as needed. And certainly Ball State's middles are a little bit more zero tempo than Irvine's, but the back pin's similar. You know what I mean? And honestly, I don't know how many teams are really going very fast on the back pin that are in the top 5. Do you know what I mean? Give or take from that. Most of them are a little bit slower. So.
Yeah, I think the middle attack from Trevor is probably one of the slower ones in the game right now.
Yeah.
And he gets away with it because of how high he jumps. But, you know, I agree with these guys. I think the D ball from Darcy was much slower than most, and not particularly fast in the front pin either. But I think when you got the right hitters and you got the right arms, and you can still effectively, obviously, challenge a block system. Because to Brad's point, we were bunching a ton. Wasn't working.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Tyler Mitchum 1.5, baby. Just let Tyler go up and go get it. You know what I mean? And so,
Yeah. We had a guy, Greg Faulkner, who all of you guys, many of you know very well.
Black
Same
Panther.
thing. Was running the same
Wrist
system.
away, Greg Faulkner.
Yep. Yeah.
Dan, I was going to talk about Mitch Perinar. That's the last time I've seen somebody whip the dragon back there, can do what he wants with it. Or even what was it? Yeah, shout out Mitch Perinar. That's the fastest. We try to emulate you now, 2026. And then I'm thinking about the Quinn Isaacson. That was 22 when they were here. He ran a pretty solid tempo, at least to the go ball, but not to Mandalaris at the time. So it's not comparable. And from that 2022 team to now, but they do definitely have the ability. And they also had a ton of range with Pat Rogers from Ball State. Inside, outside, back to a lot of movement from that standpoint. But UCI, just Costi, put a good ball up, set Trevor Clark. That's all we need right now.
Yeah.
So just a heads up for all you just jumping on Instagram Live and on the, hopefully I post this pretty quickly. We're in the media room of the NCAA Men's Volleyball Championship. So as people walk around. So it's a good way to shout out all our media people who are in the house. Live podcast episode from Hawaii. We've got Vanessa Bonilla in here. We've shouted her out too many times, I think, on the podcast for social media shout outs. So they'll be cruising in. I may get distracted because I have volley ADHD. So I'm going to make eye contact, wave, and throw shakas and all that. So, but it's a great atmosphere here. And I don't think, not just Dan sitting next to me and he can strangle me, but the committee's done a great job out here. And, the results show. It's just a great electric atmosphere here. I mean, the venue the other night was rocking. My ears are ringing left. So
my one complaint for the committee is, what's up with the teal polo? What? That's quite a vibrant color.
hey, yesterday I was doing a shout out to Dave Hunt because I had an orange long sleeve on. Just, I don't know.
Love it.
It's whatever colors they're giving me. In 10 minutes, I'll have a suit on, Brad, and I'll look just fine. Okay?
So with that, UC Irvine moves on, 3-1 victory over Ball State, and shout out to all you Ball State fans. And I always want to give props to the fan base that's here. And a lot of listeners of College Volleyball Weekly came up and personally said thank you. I'm going to shout out Gene Basilio, Will Basilio's dad. Said I made it. He waited and waited. I was talking, getting ready for the next match, and he waited. So he wanted to say thanks to all of you guys for what we do, and he listens weekly. They're Canadian, but we're not going to hold that against them. We like Canadians.
America's hat.
But there's so much Canadian talent coming down here, and it's hard to deny that we've got a solid core of Canadians that can play some solid ball here. Yep. So with that, we're going to move on to, unless there's anything else you want to add about the Ball State UC Irvine match. Nope. Semifinal number 2, Long Beach State, Hawaii. Now, careful, there's Hawaii media in here. They could rattle on us. They're smiling at us. He's gonna start videoing us live over there. He's gonna post it and send it directly to the locker room of the Bows. So we want to get your take on the Hawaii Long Beach State match. And who wants to go? Are you gonna do the ladies first again, or
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet and hit my shakas up. I am a super Hawaii fan. Does that make sense? I'm a fan of the Hawaii fans. And when you're talking about, I'm in a restaurant where people don't know anything about volleyball, and they're just like, there are so many people here watching, men jump up and down and hit balls hard. That's impressive. And that's the fact that you're looking at the stat line and you can talk all about how amazing they played, but there was something different in the water there. Obviously the undertone of the last match, but the boys were riding for the pride of Hawaii. And that's just, you could feel it through the TV. You could feel it. Yeah, of course you want to go to the national championship. Of course. But they carried the island to LA, and it was tangible. It was tangible in the air. I could talk about stat lines. I could talk about different guys. They completely neutralized Long Beach offensively. But hey, shout out Hawaii fans. You're the best.
198 was Long Beach State's hitting percentage as a team after that match. I don't think I've seen them hit below 300 at all during the year.
Wow. Didn't Hawaii have 14 stuff blocks like in the match?
14.5, yep.
Yeah,
So,
I was about to say, I was like, there was more there.
Look, if you want to talk about poking the dog or poking the bear, Gayak woke a nation up. And, it's one thing. I'm going to use the words of Animal House. You can't haze our pledges. Only we can haze our pledges. When people talk about Hawaii, it is a nation that when they feel slighted, and no doubt they did from last week, they circled the wagons and they showed you what they're all about. I don't know if anybody saw the video of the shaka that was down on a wall and somebody went and replaced it and turned it back up and said that's all better or something to that. I'm paraphrasing. And yeah, Varga hit 333 for that match. That's good still. Dane Hillis came in, hit 286, but you haven't really seen him much all year in a major role, but good for him to come in. Bloom wasn't quite Bloom, wasn't serving the BBs that he's normally used to be known for. Christ only hit 200, which that's very low for his standards. Braun only hit 125, but Mr. Gajek hit 034. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm going to say that Hawaii kind of keyed in on that guy a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. 034. And the guy hit 299 on the year, and he only hit 034 in that match. And he was seemingly pretty quiet during that match, and in more ways than one. And, the rest of the stats were what they were. First ball for Long Beach, 145. UH was 318. Side out percentage was 61 versus 68%. Passing numbers, UH outpassed him pretty well, 237 or 2.37 and 1.97. The thing for me though, you pissed off somebody that's much bigger than what was on that court, and they were not just playing for themselves; they were playing for everybody back on the rock. And then when you are playing with that kind of mojo, you ain't stopping that. There's no way in hell. And Long Beach looked out of sorts, and Hawaii was rolling. So, congrats to UH to make it back to the national championship match. I too am a fan of the Hawaiian fans. And I am really, really excited about tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So we're going to erase Jay's name from anything from UC Irvine because of that statement. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Zot Nation.
All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, I thought we talked about this being the first semifinal was pretty clean. This semifinal, not nearly clean. And to put it in perspective, the aces and the overpasses, there was maybe 4 or 5 the entire semifinal one with the ball stayed in Irvine. And then in this match, we had almost 2 out of every 10 serves, there was an ace or overpass. And way more service errors. Still down considerably from where some matches have been in men's volleyball. So I still think it was a pretty good showing. I think ultimately, just the passing of Long Beach really broke down. Varga and Larson were pretty good. But between Bloom and I'm assuming Hillis was in there to help steady out that serve reception. He got limited balls when he was in there, and it's tough to be in that spot as the passer and to find a rhythm there. But a lot more errors in serve receive, and then a lot more errors in first ball from that, especially from Long Beach. A lot more unorthodox errors, and I thought the block from Hawaii really changed the match with those middles being so big, so long, so physical. And then there's really not too many blocking liabilities for Hawaii on the court. And that was evident with their ability to shut down Gayak, their ability to shut down the middles for Long Beach and really, really kind of get Long Beach out of rhythm and out of sorts, where in first ball, Long Beach only hit 145 throughout the entire match, which is a huge, huge downgrade from where they're normally at, where they're probably in the 330 to 360 range.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought these guys did a tremendous job of kind of breaking this down. The only thing that I think I would add is, you look at these two teams and you compare them. Tread Rosenthal is definitely the more decorated setter of the two. When you make this game about serve and pass, which it often, Pizzanti was having to be on the run quite a bit, and the game got really complicated. And for him as a setter, but got very simple for Hawaii from a block perspective. I thought Hawaii did a fantastic job serving, obviously not clean, but they had their way in terms of point scoring percentages and things of that nature. And I thought Tread looked really, really poised. I thought he did a fantastic job for most of that match. And where he was really great at the service line, he was even better in some of the out of system situations where I felt like when Long Beach was out of system, they looked out of sorts. They had trouble contacting the ball. Things were very unclean and very undisciplined for them, which is very uncharacteristic of Long Beach. I think that's a team that, historically has been really, really disciplined, really well trained, very poised. And obviously the loss of Kandev and the injury that happened with him, and trying to find somebody who could rise up to that moment in such a big pivotal match and be able to pass the ball was obviously the difference for those guys. And so obviously I thought they had a tremendous year overall, but man, Nikki nailed it on the head. The passion that Hawaii was playing for, and for Gayak to maybe be a little early on that celebration that kind of united the island. Hawaii was definitely looking for vengeance, and they found it.
This just in, Tread Rosenthal is playing tonight in a wheelchair and will still be the best setter in the gym.
There you go.
that kid is willing himself to play through some major stuff going on right now. Just and put it in perspective, for the year, Long Beach hit 360 in first ball, which is really, really good. That night they only hit 145, and UH hit 238 on the year in first ball, and that night they hit 318. They stepped it up.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
Yeah, my piggyback off Brad, just when you were sitting there watching it, comparing the two matches, the second match wasn't as clean at times. You know what I mean? In terms of just first ball touch, and even some extended rally touches. And so I thought Hawaii was able to kind of sustain, through each set, kind of being a little bit cleaner when they needed to be, certainly at pivotal points, which was pretty big. And so, which I think leads us into this finals match tonight is like, the first ball contact stuff will be huge. Do you know what I mean? We talk about Irvine, which is probably one of the best in the country, and then Hawaii certainly brings a ton of serving pressure. And so I think you look at those two stat lines on the matches, and it's like, does this tend to be a cleaner first ball touch between receive and service errors, or does it get kind of wonky and you got 18 to 20 service errors tonight, and the passing's kind of all over the place? So it'll be interesting to see how we play into this match tonight. So,
one of the go ahead.
The last piece that I forgot to mention is just the Hawaii opposites were on. Tatritsky, you could tell from the very first point, they set him a D ball and hammered it. Then the next point, set a D ball, hammers it the other direction. Where that was really, really impressive. And, we'll obviously talk about tonight, but he's going to be a big piece of their success. And then Kainoa Wade, every time he goes back to the end line, he is scoring points as a serving sub, and not just in the match last night, like season wide, when obviously he played some time on the right for them, but in that serving sub role, it is so difficult. And I think he scored a point in each and every set in the semifinal, if not two in a couple of them, where that is so tough to be in that spot. And you can feel the pressure he puts on the passers, the pressure he puts on the opposing team, because he's coming in and he's going to make you have to pass a really tough serve, and it can go anywhere on the court. And then you're going to have to side out and play good volleyball to get him off that end line. It's really, really a underappreciated role that he is excelling in for his team.
Yeah.
Brad, to back you up, he served 8 times, had 0 misses, and scored at a 50% rate. So he literally scored every time they put him in. It was impressive as heck.
Well, 2 little side notes there. VBELO, who posts these infographics, stat graphics and predicted winners. He had Long Beach State a 65-35 win over Hawaii. Kainoa Wade responds in the comments, really? And that's it. It was classic. And then on the Wojciech Gajek side, he actually posted a pretty, what seems like a genuine apology for his gesture. And now he understands, like, obviously in hindsight, but there's definitely humility to his post. And he got nothing but love back from first player. Luis Sakanoko. It's like all good, brother. So it's just cool seeing the sportsmanship and the learning moment that's being taught, you know?
Look at the growth. Look at the growth of what's going on, the humanity, if you will. I love it. Good for you, kid, for making that apology, and good for Sakanogo for being the first one to respond. That's good stuff.
Well, unfortunately, we're not going to see Gayak next year because he did announce that he's playing pro on Springs.
Shocker.
Team he's playing on announced that he's coming, and same with Tetrisky. He's going back to Sofia, Bulgaria. And if that's according to Volleybox, I mean, it's public knowledge. I saw it. It was actually brought to my knowledge by another Hawaii media person. So I was kind of shocked. I thought he'd come back, but if people have their priorities, I get that.
It's getting more and more common every year that guys are coming in, especially the foreign kids, and they're playing a year, maybe two, and they're out. They're going pro. And you know what? More power to them. Go do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to put you guys on the spot to pick who will win tonight, but what should people be looking for in this matchup tonight in the final?
The Magic
Unless
Sport.
you want to go out there and get some hate mail thrown your way before the match starts.
Well, I think you need, like I said, you got to pay attention to first ball contact. Like who's a little bit cleaner, because they both got some really good middles. And we know Irvine's middles, especially with Clark, can be dominant. But our team's able to manage the serve pass piece. I think that becomes pretty important to get their middles part of it. And then I think if you pay attention to the two opposites in the semifinals for both teams, they were both hitting around the same clip, around 280, and they both had around 14 kills. Trzynski picked up some points with his blocks and aces. So, how do the opposites level out the out of system stuff and everything in terms of point scoring from that standpoint? So,
And on serve receive, a little more specifically, I think it comes down to number 23 on both sides. They're kind of the X factors. Where I think
Andreas
the other
Brink
four
and Luis Sakanoko, just so people know, they both wear 23. So that's a good call.
So I think the other four passers for both Hawaii and Irvine they're all been really steady throughout the year and really, really good. I think those are going to be the kind of make or break. And Brink's been unreal, especially in these last, 4 or 5 matches. He's been really steady, but I think that's a big piece. And Sakanoko wasn't great passing wise in this past semifinal, but he's been pretty good and really, really steady throughout the year. So I think watching those two passers, especially.
Well, I just want to add here, you mentioned Luis Sakanoko, set number 4 early on, probably right around 5 points. He literally blasted a ball. I felt like shattered the earth's core because it was such a hard ball hit, and he had back-to-back. I feel like he was getting more and more power as the match went on, and he's just letting her rip. But like your call, Brad.
Well, think about this for a second. UCI went 0-2 against UH. They had 8 sets, and in those 8 sets, only 16 points were the difference that they lost by. So do the math. So I'm going to be real honest here and say this. Most good teams, and I just mean good teams, right? Not the teams that made it to the dance, but just most good teams have 1, maybe 2 players that are key. And if those 2 players are on, it's going to be pretty tough for anybody that they're playing against. And obviously the other team has their own as well. And then you go from there. The much better teams have 3 guys, maybe. So you can spread it around a little bit. If one guy's off, the other 2 can kind of carry load. You can go from there and then do the math. The elite teams have more. Here's the thing that I think people don't understand. On the 3 top attackers on UCI's team in terms of total attempts, Clark is 3rd. That's scary because he's really effective, and he's 3rd behind Yoka and Darcy. So when you do the math, you've got 3 guys in 3 key positions across the net. And I like to keep my offensive game 30 feet wide whenever possible, right? I mean, it's if you're opposite, like we saw the Ball State matches, maybe not having a great night, your offense shrinks to 15 feet. And so now all of a sudden the blockers don't have as much to try to cover, but they've got 30 feet wide at nearly the entire time in the match. And each team has got players that can get it done. This match tonight, I would not be surprised if it goes 5. And I would not be surprised if either team wins. But I'm going to go with Hawaii tonight is going to play for their fans back home and everybody back home that is watching. Hawaii's getting it done tonight for Hawaii Nation. It is Shaka's up tonight.
There went Jay's name from the UC Irvine archives right there.
There it went. You know what? My 1 year. Oh, well. Besides, my assistant coach Talamoa would kill me if I went against his pick.
Well, I think what's interesting is obviously you reflect back on what happened with these two teams early in the year, right? And Hawaii won both the earlier matchups, 1-5, 1-3. The big difference, and I think Brad was alluding to this a little bit, Brink was not in the lineup. Kirikow was at that point in time. In addition to that, really Clark that weekend struggled quite a bit, only had 14 attempts through those two matches. I don't think he played all of the sets that they actually engaged in. And so really interesting for Irvine is to kind of see and test how Brink matches up against these guys, what that looks like. But then specifically, if Trevor can stay on this run that he has currently been on, obviously Irvine challenged this team at one point earlier in this year, and the way that they're playing ball right now, this could get real interesting. And so to your guys' point earlier, this earlier matchup, Hawaii did not play the cleanest volleyball. They obviously beat Long Beach, which I thought was huge. Irvine looked very well put together. Obviously, I thought Ball State looked really good too. Irvine looked like they were grooving. And so if Costi, Mr. Young Man, Mr. Freshman can lead this group and not fold under the pressure, and they can handle the serving from Hawaii, I think this is Irvine's night.
Ooh, look at that. Ooh.
I'm not gonna pick a champion. I'm not gonna upset my people. Nif is one of my favorite humans, and I love those Hawaii fans. But
more than Brad.
I'm with Theo. Like it's gonna go 5, and for the grand scheme of things, we want this viewership. So everybody out there on Instagram Live, we need to be sharing on social media we need to watch this game, and I hope it goes 5. Two great teams, like Battle of the Titans. Statistically, I'm looking at the last match. Like Hawaii hit 440 in first ball. That's the kind of the separator and pass a little cleaner. Then they didn't pass a little cleaner in their counterpoint. They just scored. But love both teams. I think it's gonna be a great battle. I want it to go 5. We need Cinco sets tonight. Nif, Charlie, we want 5. That's all I'm asking for. And
hopefully one of the players is on Instagram Live hearing this.
Yes, we need 5 sets.
5 By the way, this just in, Tread Rosenthal, not only will he be in a wheelchair, now has a full arm cast on his left arm and will still be in the game.
Jay, Tread is still 6'8" in the wheelchair. That's all. He is still 6'8" in the wheelchair. He only needs one hand. That's how talented he is. The man can't do any wrong.
Warrior, that kid is.
Right there. But we need 5
sets. I will say one prediction that I have is if this thing goes 5, Kainoa Wade will be playing, and he will not just be a serving sub.
Rob, do we want to make a bingo card, a Final Four bingo card?
I gotta be doing sound check here soon. Wait, gotta shout out one person here, Michael Abbott of UCLA Sports Media. He told me not to do it in the press room, but I had to load up quickly. But he's been awesome here, and I'll just say that because you're right there in that beautiful suit with your own portable steamer you brought in. But UCLA has done a great job here at this year's championship.
So I think another really interesting piece that I'll be watching is the middle attack for Irvine. Obviously, it's been really prevalent in the semifinal. They set Trevor Clark in system more than any other attacker. They set him 12 times. And I think Long Beach also was very prominent, setting a lot to the middle, especially to Jackson Crisp. And Justin Todd and Travell Jordan got really committed with the middles and were jumping and committing a lot with the middle blocker. I think the size and length that Justin Todd and Travell Jordan have can really create some issues there. And the other nuance within the Irvine offense is they do not set the BIC very often. I think you saw it 2 times in the match last night. I think on the season, it's about 5 or 6% to Jokanovic only. So what that means is it's a lot easier for teams to be invested in the middle there, which hasn't hurt them because they haven't seen too many middles with the size and length that the Hawaii middles have. So that's going to be really interesting, is seeing how the attack unfolds for Irvine, knowing that size and physicality in the middle of the court.
For the average fan out there, if you watch high-level international volleyball, there are a lot of times when teams are in system that coaches will say, just go be good on your guy, and it's one-on-one blocking almost at some points. You just go on and just put in one-on-one. Tonight, I hope we get to see Travell against Clark. And I want to see Travell just focus on getting a guy. I wonder if Hawaii's saying, look, we'll take our chances on the pins. We got to slow this guy down just a little bit. And if Travell can get into that 12-foot, 17-foot airspace and slow some of those things down, that's going to be so much fun to watch. That's the matchup I'm most interested in seeing tonight.
Right.
And then my last piece to watch that's going to be really intriguing is going to be Hawaii transition attacking. Irvine's going to play really good defense. There's going to be long rallies. I think statistically, and I think the eye test, they're the best ball control team in the nation this year. So they're going to play a lot of long rallies. They got really good pins and they're really good attackers. And if they can attack and terminate in transition and prevent some longer rallies that are going to kind of benefit Irvine over time with getting them more defensive opportunities, I think that's going to be a really big key. So longer rallies is better for Irvine. One or two swings in a rally is better for Hawaii in this match.
Yeah. I don't think Dan can talk on this because he's on the committee, right? Is that why you're?
Well, I'm just listening. It's great. I am not going to give you guys a winner tonight.
I have one prediction. One prediction.
Good volleyball.
And I don't know how Theo didn't take this one first, but I guarantee a Big West team will win the national championship tonight.
I'm still waiting on this bingo card that we're going to create for the Kainoa Wade end game. I'm waiting for it all.
By the way, this just in, Tread Rosenthal will have an IV bag attached to him the entire match, and we'll still start.
All right, we got to wrap it up so I can get this production out there. Hopefully a good hour before 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. Matches on. Dan Frand of Lewis and the NCAA committee, Nikki Sandlin of McKendree, Brad Rostratter of UC San Diego, Jay Hosick of George Mason, of CSUN. You know, they'll be watching on ESPN2. Talked to Kevin Barnett earlier as he's commuting up. That was like 5 hours ago. I think he just arrived. And Anne-Marie Anderson, and they live like 15 minutes away in Manhattan Beach. So we're all struggling in traffic to get up here, but we're going to see you online on ESPN2. Thanks, guys.
The only thing 15 minutes from UCLA is the parking lot.
Thanks for listening to College Volleyball Weekly. Be sure to follow Rob Aspero at the Rob on the Mic on Instagram and at Rob on the Mic on Twitter.